The idea, it's not even a technique, it's an idea or a concept that we'll work with today is called Kumbhaka. And Kumbhaka in short form just means to hold your breath. But it's not holding your breath absent-mindedly. It's not like you are stressed out and all of a sudden you realize you haven't been breathing for like the last 30 seconds. That's not Kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is an intentional pause of the breath. And because the breath is that which we can use to control the flow of prana, our life force, we can actually create stillness in our energetic body through intentionally pausing the breath. And this sounds simple, but it's not, because the way that you can tell if you're practicing Kumbhaka correctly or effectively, I should say, is if you can do it without any nervous system response attached to it, except maybe calming down a bit. So I know that when I've practiced pranayama in my life and I've held my breath maybe a little bit too long or when I'm not actually ready to, I can feel my heartbeat a little bit faster. I can feel my sympathetic nervous system response start to kick in a little bit, that kind of panicking behind it, or even just discomfort. Now, it's okay to feel that, and if you feel that tonight, you'll be fine. We do have to kind of work our way toward the competency of being able to control the breath or hold the breath in this case. So we kind of have to go through the discomfort to get used to it. But just know that there's a difference between absent-mindedly holding the breath and intentionally holding the breath. Now, there are two forms of Kumbhaka, technically three, but two that we'll talk about right now. One is holding the breath at the top of the inhale, and one is holding the breath at the bottom of the exhale. And in different capacities with the breath, and if you read Essential Pranayama that I wrote, I talk about this specifically in there, about if you hold the breath after inhale, it's quite energizing to your system. If you hold the breath after exhale, it's calming to your system. Now today, we're not going to play around with the energetics too crazily here, like as far as like highs and lows go. We are going to hold the breath at the top and the bottom equally so that we come out pretty balanced here. Yeah, I'll be giving some cues about how long to hold your breath. And I want you to take that with a grain of salt, meaning that if I ask you to hold your breath for 3 counts, but that makes you feel really anxious, hold your breath for maybe 1 count or 2 counts or whatever lesser amount might be. And if you really start to feel uncomfortable, just don't hold your breath at all. This is a practice, it's something we have to build for. And looking at the roster, there are quite a few different people in the room who are at different levels of practice. So be kind and gentle to yourself as always. I think that's all I'm going to mention about Kumbhaka. I do talk about it in the book on page 28, so you can read more about it there. Yeah, let's go ahead and get centered. Please sit comfortably. Sitting tall, take a deep breath in and out. And just tune into your breath. Pranayama, breath work, controlling the breath. And right now we're just observing it, at least at first here. You might notice if your breath feels deep, if it feels shallow, if it's quick, if it's slow, if it feels smooth and continuous or not that. With your awareness on the breath, we'll begin to shape it by engaging sama vritti pranayama, or the even breath. And so for this breath, you'll inhale for a certain number of counts and exhale for an equal number of counts. And a count is whatever you use for internal measurement, an estimated second or the sound of a syllable or word. Just do your best, inhaling for a certain number of counts and exhaling for an equal number of counts. Equal inhale and equal exhale. In this pranayama, some of it teaches helps to bring balance to your system. If you attended the last class, we used this breath a lot. We're going to continue that theme and use this breath quite a bit in this practice today as well, including the holding of the breath. So just to see where you're at comfort-wise with Kumbhaka or the breath retention or suspension, inhale for a certain number of counts, and then pause the breath in for like 2 counts or 2 heartbeats, not very long at all. And then exhale for the same number of counts as the inhale, and then hold the breath out for just a couple of counts. Again, not very long. It's just enough to see how it feels to hold the breath. And continue that for just a few more rounds. Pausing the breath in, and pausing the breath out. One more round. And as you complete this next hold after exhale, relax both techniques. And let's chant Om 3 times. Deep breath in, please. Om. 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 Go ahead and bring your palms to your heart and lower the chin. And just honor yourself as you are in this moment. Your body, your breath, your energy and mind. It's from this place within you that we will practice this evening. So go ahead and rub the palms together. And take the heated palms over your eyes. And brush back over the top of your head, down your neck, bringing yourself back to the room. Welcome back. Good. So for our first asana, or for our first posture, I'm gonna have you switch the cross of your legs. So right now you are in your habitual cross. You're gonna take the back leg and just move it to the front, or switch which one's on top. And you have the option to stay seated on your props, or you can come down onto your seat. And you'll see which one you want to do as we get going. So feel free to switch it up at any point. So take your left hand or fingertips to the floor right next to you. Take your right arm out to the side and turn your palm toward the ceiling. Now with your inhale, reach the right arm up and over, big stretch on the right side, and then exhale, return to a tall spine. Let's do that again. Inhale, reach up and over. Exhale, return. Let's do this a few more times, all right? Reaching up and over. Inhale. And exhale back. And as you're reaching that right arm up, you want to think about grounding your right hip back down to the floor. So you're anchoring the hip and you're reaching through the fingertips. Let's do 2 more times. Good. And we're going to stay this time. Reach that right arm up and over, reaching through the fingertips. Feel your right hip ground. Now, sometimes here your top shoulder, the right shoulder in this case, wants to round forward. If that's happening for you, take that right shoulder back, maybe even looking up with your chin, if that's okay, on your neck. Staying for the next inhale. And exhale, return to a tall seat. Feel sensation, that big length on the right side of the body. Probably makes you really want to do the other side. So go ahead and take your right hand or fingertips to the floor on your right side. Left arm out, turn the palm up. And with your inhale, reach that left arm up and over. And exhale, come back to a tall seat. Using the core to help bring you back up. Inhale, reach. Exhale back. And again, as you're lifting that left arm up and over, feel the left hip ground onto your yoga mat. Inhale, reach. Exhale, return. Let's do a few more times. Good. Go ahead and reach up and over. We're going to stay this time. Again, as you reach through the fingertips, feel the left hip ground back down onto your mat and roll the left shoulder back, maybe even looking up underneath the arm. Breathe. Good. And then with an exhale, come back up to a tall spine. Good. Keep the legs crossed as they are. I'm going to turn sideways. You keep facing the way you're facing and just fold over the legs for a moment. Just reaching forward. And as you reach your hands forward, ground your hips back onto the mat, just feeling a nice symmetrical stretch on both sides of the spine. Good. And then walk the hands on back. All right. So now we're going to come onto hands and knees. And you may want to bring a folded blanket underneath your knee. Your knees, that is, plural. There's two. Good. All right, I'm still on the camera. Good, good. So hands under your shoulders and knees beneath your hips or slightly further back. You're going to take your left foot out to the left, like straightening that leg. Now the leg is in line with both hip bones, so not far forward, not far back, but straight out from the hip. Good. And with the hands on the floor, turn the tailbone to point toward the ceiling, so a little bit of a dip in the lower back. And then keep that dip in the back as you traction backwards. And you'll feel a stretch on the inside of your left thigh. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, go back again. Inhale, back up. We're going to just do a few more. Good. Last one. And then inhale, come back up. Step the left leg in. And then take the right leg out. Now again, that leg is straight out from the hip, so not forward or back, but straight out. Turn the tailbone to point toward the ceiling, so a slight dip in your lower back. And keep that as you traction backwards, feeling that stretch on the inside of your right thigh and leg. Inhale back up. We'll do about 5 total. Exhale back. Inhale up. Good. So I think this is the last one, going back. And then coming back up, step that right knee in. Good. Child's pose for just a moment, feeling a symmetrical stretch in the body, but only for a moment. Inhale, come back up. And go ahead and take your left leg out to the side again. Same way as before, grounding through the left toes, and then come to stand on your right knee. And this is where you might want to make sure you have enough support underneath that right knee. So if you haven't done that already and you need it, go ahead and bring that there. So your left hand is going to relax down onto your left leg. Some people like to have the hand on the lower back as well. It's more supportive to have the hand down. It's more of a core workout to have the left hand on the lower back. So pick your practice here. You're going to take your right arm out to the side, just like before. Turn the palm toward the ceiling. And with your inhale, reach that right arm up and over. Exhale, zip up the spine, come back up tall. Good. And then reach up and over. Inhale, exhale back, and keep going. Inhale, reach. Exhale, return. Getting that nice lateral strength in today. Okay, let's do 2 more. And we're going to hold the pose this time. So reaching up and over, you definitely might want to have the left hand on the left leg here as we hold, just a bit more supportive. And then think about rolling the right shoulder back, looking up, and reaching as far to the left with your right fingertips as you can. Good. One more breath. And come back up. Whew. Feel sensation here. Again, that big length on the right side, especially when comparing it to the left side, which we haven't done yet. Okay, take your time, but step your left knee in. You can bring the hands down for that support if you need to. But then when you're ready, take the right leg out to the side. Again, the leg comes straight out of the hip. We're grounding through the pinky edge of the right foot. Your right hand can be on the right leg, or it can be on the lower back if you want a bit more of a workout. And then take your left arm out to the side, turn the palm toward the ceiling, and with your next inhale, reach the left arm up and over. And then exhale, return. Inhale, big extension on that left side, reach. And exhale, return. Let's keep this going. Inhale, reaching up and over. Exhale, coming back. We'll do a few more rounds. Good, let's go in for the hold now. So sweep that left arm up and over. You can have your right hand on the leg here for support. Think about rolling the left shoulder back, even if it's just a hair. Maybe even turning your head to look up. Great. Reaching as far to the right with your left fingertips as you can. Reach. And exhale, return. Good job. Feeling that energy moving up the left side of the body. Good. So stepping the right leg in. Bring both hands to the floor, and we're going to transition into downward facing dog. So curl the toes under and lift the hips. Again, feeling a nice symmetrical stretch, especially in your spine. You can also walk the dog out here a little bit if you'd like to, pressing a heel to the floor and bending the opposite knee. Breathing in and out. Good. All right. So from down dog, go ahead and walk your hands back to meet your feet, coming into the standing forward fold. Allow the knees to be soft here, just a little bit bent, and allow the upper body just to drape over the legs. Release the head, release the shoulders. Good. Inhale, press palms to shins, come halfway up. And exhale, fold down. And then we're going to do this with sama vritti, the even breath. So pressing palms to shins, inhale, come halfway up for a certain number of counts. Then exhale, fold forward for an equal number of counts. Palms to shins, come halfway up. Again, for a certain number of counts. And then exhale, fold down for an equal number of counts. So breathing evenly, halfway up again. Exhale down. Let's try adding some Kumbhaka here. Palms to shins. Inhale for a certain number of counts, come halfway up. Hold the breath in for, again, just a heartbeat or two, just a couple of counts. Then exhale, fold down. Hold the breath out for that 1 to 2 counts. Then inhale, coming up. Pause. Exhale, coming down. Pause. One more time. With your next inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up to standing, reaching the arms up first, and then bringing the arms on down. Good morning. Welcome back. So we're going to continue working with Samavritti, and we'll, again, as we build toward the end of our practice today, we're going to use Kumbhaka, the holding of the breath, just a little bit more. And you might start to notice the general effects of breath retention, or at least the initial effects, which is the mind stops moving as much. There's less random thoughts, there's less cyclical thinking. We use it in a meditative way. We use it to actually create stoppages in the cycle of the mind. So it's a great one to use when you just need to stop spinning. Okay. So we are going to play around with chair pose and a chair flow here. Many of you know this one. So go ahead and bring the feet about hip distance apart and bring your palms to your heart. And we'll get the movement in our bodies, and then we'll even out the breath. So with your next inhale, sweep your arms down, back and up. Exhale, bend your knees, sweep the arms behind you, chair prep. Inhale, sweep the arms up, chair pose. Stay for your exhale. Then inhale, straighten the legs, reach up. And exhale, swan dive, fold forward. Good. Palms to shins, come halfway up. And exhale down. Sweep the arms out to the side with a strong back, lift all the way up to standing. And palms to the heart. Now let's try to do that with an even breath. And you might breathe quicker, or the count might be shorter than what you were using before. So with your even inhale, sweep the arms down, back, and up. Bend the knees, chair prep, exhale. For that even inhale, lift the arms into chair pose. Even exhale, stay in chair pose. Inhale, straighten the knees. For that even exhale, fold forward. Halfway up. And down. Even breathing, come all the way back up. Palms to the heart. Keep the breath even. We're going to keep going. Sweep the arms down, back, up. Exhale, chair prep. Inhale, chair. Exhale, stay in chair. Straighten the knees and fold. Halfway up and down. All the way up. Heart. Keep the breath even. Let's keep moving. Sweep the arms down, back, and up. Chair prep. Chair. Stay. Lift. Fold. Halfway. Fold. All the way. Palms to heart. Now let's see if we can do this by adding Kumbhaka. Again, just a 1 or 2 count pause with each part of the breath. So inhale, sweep up. Pause. Chair prep. Pause. Chair pose. Pause. Stay in chair. Pause. Straighten up, inhale. Pause. Fold forward, exhale. Pause. Palms to shins. Pause. Fold. Pause. Sweep the arms out, come all the way up. Hold at the top. Palms to the heart. Pause. Let's see if we can do this one more round. Sweep up. Pause. Chair prep. Pause. Chair pose. Pause. Stay in chair. Pause. Lift. Pause. Fold. Pause. Halfway. Pause. Fold. Pause. Arms out to the side, come all the way up. Pause. Palms to heart. Pause. Stay and breathe normally here. Tadasana, mountain pose. Tuning into, first of all, whatever you're feeling, whatever that might be. You might notice your mind, both your relationship to that practice. Maybe you really liked it. Maybe there are parts of you that had some challenge with it and they're having an opinion about that right now. That's okay too. Whatever's there. It does take time practicing this, especially when you blend it with the movement. And especially when you're trying to even the breath out at the same time. So we're going to give ourselves just a couple moments of a break from that, and we're going to move into our sun salutation, working with Warrior One tonight. So go ahead and step to the top of your mat, whichever direction that is for you, and have your feet about hip distance apart, palms to heart. And I hope you like that last exercise because we're going to use it as our intro for this one. So with your next inhale, sweep the arms down, back, and up. Exhale, chair prep, chair pose. Stay in chair. Lift on inhale and fold on exhale. Palms to shins and down. Go ahead and step your right foot back. The back foot comes flat to the floor, toes pointing forward about 45 degrees. Bend your front knee strong, square the hips, point forward, and then sweep the arms forward, peel the chest away from the thigh, coming into Virabhadrasana, Warrior One. Good. With your next inhale, straighten the left knee. Think about hinging from your hips as you extend forward and fold over the left leg. Stay for the inhale. And then exhale, step the left foot back, coming into downward facing dog. And we'll move through Danda Kriya. Inhale, come into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, bring the heart 1 inch from the floor. And then come onto the tops of the feet, press the arms straight, take the shoulders back, knees off the ground, upward facing dog. And then exhale, pull yourself back into downward facing dog. Good. Now, once you're there, lift the right leg high into the air behind you. With your exhale, step that right foot all the way forward. Help it forward if you need to. Back foot comes flat to the floor. Again, toes pointing forward slightly. Nice bend to the right knee. Sweep the arms forward and up, coming into Virabhadrasana, Warrior One on this side. Good. Inhale, straighten the right knee. Again, think about hinging from the hips. Extend forward and fold over the right leg. Stay for an inhale. Good. And then step the left foot forward. Standing forward fold, palms to shins, halfway up, inhale. And exhale, fold. Sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up. And palms to the heart. Good, now let's do that again. Inhale, sweep the arms down and up. Exhale, bend the knees, chair prep, chair pose. Good. With your inhale, straighten the legs and fold forward. Palms to shins. And down, step the left foot back. Again, prepping for warrior one, back toes pointing forward, bend the front knee, sweep the arms up. Staying for the exhale. Inhale, straighten the right knee, hinge at the hips, fold down over the leg. Breath in. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, moving through Danda Kriya, plank pose. Chaturanga, 1 inch from the floor. Press up into upward facing dog. And then pull back into downward facing dog. Good, left leg lifts this time. And step that foot forward, help it through. Back foot flat, toes pointing forward. Bend the front knee, sweep the arms up into warrior one. Stay for the exhale. Straighten the knee, inhale. Again, hinge at the hips, fold long over that left leg. Deep breath in. And then exhale, step the right foot forward, Uttanasana. Palms to shins. And exhale, fold. Sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up. And palms to the heart. Take an adjusting breath here. And then find your samavriti, find your even breath. And again, you've been through the movement 2 times now. You could probably assume how much length of breath you'll need here. So it might be shorter, it might be just 3 or 4 counts. And then we'll try to move through it a couple of rounds with the samavriti. So with your next inhale, sweep the arms up. Chair prep. Chair pose. Stay for chair. Breathing evenly, straighten the knees. Fold forward. Palms to shins. Then exhale, fold down and step the right foot back, prepping for warrior one. That's all on the exhale. Then inhale, come into warrior one. Exhale, stay. Inhale, straighten the left knee. And exhale, fold over it. Stay for the inhale. Then exhale, downward facing dog. Danda Kriya, plank. Chaturanga, that even breath. Upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg. Even breath, step that foot forward. And take the back foot flat. All on that exhale. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, stay. Straighten the knee. And fold. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Palms to shins. Exhale, fold. Sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up. Palms to the heart. We're going to keep going again with the samavriti. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Chair prep. Chair pose. Straighten the knees. Exhale, fold. Halfway up. Exhale down, step the left foot back this time. Warrior one when you're ready with an inhale. Stay for the exhale. Straighten the knee. And fold. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Danda Kriya, plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left leg lifts, exhale, step it through, back foot flat, warrior one, keeping the breath as even as possible. Inhale, straighten the knee, exhale, fold, stay for the inhale, and right foot steps forward, palms to shins, and down, all the way up, and palms to the heart. Good. Take an adjusting breath. In the next round, probably 2 rounds, we're going to add Kumbhaka. Now, if at a certain point it just feels like it's too much to keep pausing the breath, take a few breaths without doing it. Take a couple breaths without pausing to get your nervous system back to a balanced state, and then re-engage with the pausing of the breath when you feel like you have the capacity, if you have the capacity. All right, no need to push yourself too hard here. We definitely don't want to trigger into our sympathetic response. So, you know the movement, you know the breath. We're going to try to keep the breath even. And this next round, I should say, that we'll do, we'll just have that same pause, that same 1 to 2 counts or heartbeats, not too long at all, just enough to hear the word pause in your head. So, palms to heart. Inhale, sweep the arms down and up. Pause. Chair prep. Pause. Chair pose. Pause. Stay in chair. Pause. Straighten up. Pause. Fold. Pause. Halfway. Pause. Fold. Step the right foot back foot flat, bend the knee, then pause. Inhale, come into warrior one. Pause. Stay for the exhale. Pause. Straighten the knee. Pause. Extend and fold. Pause. Stay for the inhale. Pause. Exhale, step back to downward facing dog. Pause. Plank pose. Pause. Chaturanga. You can pause. Upward facing dog. Pause. Downward facing dog. Pause. Right leg lifts. Pause. Exhale, step. Back foot flat, bend the front knee, then pause. Warrior one. Pause. Exhale, stay. Pause. Straighten the knee. Hold. Exhale, fold. Pause. Stay for the inhale. Pause. And exhale, step the left foot forward, Uttanasana. Pause. Palms to shins, halfway up, pause. Fold. Pause. Sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up. Pause. And palms to the heart. And pause. Take an adjusting breath now. In the next round that we'll do, which is the exact same movement, we're going to hold the breath for about twice as long as we've been holding it. So about 3 to 4 counts. And again, this is an offering. You don't have to do it that long. And I want to bring an idea into your mind around Kumbhaka. So when we pause the breath, we pause prana, we stop the movement of life force energy, we create a sense of stillness. And it creates the conditions for your mind to become completely still. And so in those pauses, and there's a lot of them, dissolve any thoughts in your head, good, bad, or otherwise, whether they feel constructive, non-constructive, or somewhere in between. Whatever thought you're thinking, dissolve it every time you hold the breath, okay? So one last time, we're gonna go around this one. Again, holding the breath for just a little bit longer than you were before. And again, extending it to twice as long is just an offering. Just go as far as you can. So finding samavriti first, that's our grounding pranayama here. And with your next even inhale, sweep the arms up. Hold. Chair prep. Hold. Chair pose. Hold. Stay in chair. Hold out. Straighten up, inhale. Hold. Fold forward. Hold. Palms to shins. Hold. Fold. Step the left foot back. Back foot flat on the floor. Bend the right knee, then hold. Straighten the arms up. Coming into warrior one. Hold. Stay in warrior, exhale. Hold. Straighten the knee, inhale. Hold. Exhale, fold. And hold. Inhale here. And hold. Exhale, downward facing dog. And hold. Plank pose. Hold. Chaturanga. Hold. Upward facing dog. Hold. Downward facing dog. And hold. Inhale, lift the left leg. And hold. Exhale, step that foot forward. Back foot flat to the floor. Bend the left knee, then hold. Warrior one. Hold. Exhale here. Hold. Straighten the knee. Hold. Exhale, fold. Hold. Stay for the inhale. And hold. Exhale, step the right foot forward, Uttanasana. And hold. Palms to shins. Hold. Exhale, fold. Hold. Sweep the arms out to the side, inhale. Come all the way up. Hold. Palms to the heart. Hold. Relax. Breathe normally. If you find yourself feeling a little out of breath, that's okay. I would still try to regulate that even now. You feel yourself kind of panting. Try to calm that down a bit. Try to take slower, deeper breaths. Keep the prana concentrated. Keep it focused. Full breaths in, full breaths out. And if you're not feeling panicky, good for you too. And just keep breathing calmly for just a moment, really tuning in to the effects of that practice. The movement or the calmness of the mind. Maybe you just feel calmer in your body. Maybe you're very much aware of how hard that was or not hard that was, depending on your experience. Good. So we're at this interesting point in the eight limbs because we're moving through it in a series all year where we start to move away from the physicality of the practice, even though we're still working physically, to the more subtle realms of consciousness. And Kumbhaka is like the gateway to all of that because we start to learn to focus, still, and calm the mind. And there's no better posture that I know to practice this in, the stilling of the mind. We won't even necessarily even use Kumbhaka in it. I might invite you into that, we'll see, but is half moon pose. Half moon pose is a balancing posture. It does a lot with extensions. We've actually been warming up for it all evening. And it's a great posture for your mind to start running amok. And it's a great posture for you practicing to bring it back to center. And so what you may need for this, just to set it up, is you may need a block, depending on how long your arms are. Really, it's one of the primary things here, is if your arms are long or if they're not long. And we're gonna come into it from a standing forward fold. So just watch me do the first side here. I'm gonna balance on my left side. I'm gonna bring the block, if you're using a block, about 12 to 18 inches in front of that left foot. My right fingertips are going to be on the floor, or you could use a second block in front of you. And I'm going to sweep the right leg into the air, externally rotate the hip, and lift that right heel as high as I can. Now my eyes are focusing at the floor and I'm breathing steadily. The next step is to bring your right hand onto the hip here and breathe. And then roll the right shoulder back. And I'm still looking at the floor the entire time. Now it's tempting here to want to just throw the right arm into the air, but many of you won't be ready for that just yet. So just work with the shoulder, working that right shoulder back. Now, once you get into this stage of the posture, keep lifting the heel, keep working the shoulder back, and you might turn the chin to look forward or up. If you start looking around, you will fall. And you can use a steady breath, maybe even samavriti, to help keep you a bit more concentrated than you would before. And then after a time, you'll bring that leg down. And then you'll switch to the other side. I went through it kind of quickly. We'll take a little bit more time for you. So if you're using a block, go ahead and grab it. Let's balance on the right side first. So coming into Uttanasana, if you have the block, bring it about 12 to 18 inches in front of your right foot. It really just depends on how long your torso is. Left fingertips on the floor, or you could use a second block and have your hand on that block. And then go ahead and sweep the left arm high into the air behind you. Now don't lock your right knee, the standing leg. Soften it just slightly, give it a bit of bounce. Squeeze up that left heel behind you. Start to externally rotate the left hip, opening it toward the side. At a certain point, you might just naturally want to bring that left hand onto the left hip bone. Keep focusing the eyes on the ground. Let's steady that breath out for a moment. And that just might be becoming aware of it. That might just be breathing consciously. And it also might be adding in samavriti. Think about rolling the left shoulder back. If you fall, take your time coming back in. Squeeze up that left leg, roll the left shoulder back. And again, at a certain point, you may be able to turn the head, but that also might make you fall. So Only do that if you feel like you want to. Breathe. Good. When you're ready, you can bring that left leg down and adjust as you need to. Good. Now take a moment to adjust your mind because that might have been fun, it might have not have been fun. Whatever extreme you find yourself in, just take a few deep breaths and just know that you're okay, that this is just practice. It's meant to challenge us. That you're through the breath, you still have some control over your nervous system here. You don't have to be thrown off by the experience if it's doing that to you. And when you feel ready to do the other side, and take your time if you're not, you'll bring the block in front of your left foot. So coming into Uttanasana, the block is 12 to 18 inches in front of the left foot. Bring the hand there, right fingertips on the ground or a second block, and squeeze up the right leg behind you. Good. Then start to externally rotate the right hip. Breathe. Eyes are focused on the ground. Conscious breaths. You might want to bring the right hand onto the right hip if you haven't done so already. And once you have the right hand on the right hip, think about rolling the right shoulder back. Squeeze up that right leg as high as you can. I know you might start getting a little wobbly here. Make sure that left knee, the standing leg, is a bit soft, just a little bit of a hinge to it. Breathe. You might be able to change where your eyes are focusing. And of course, if you fall, take your time coming back in. Don't feel frustrated or defeated. You take a deep breath. Remember, you're practicing yoga. It's not that serious. It's important, but it's not serious. And try again. Try again. Even if your body feels tired, even if you start to feel fatigued, like you're warmed up for it, give it a try. We'll stay for just a little bit longer. No pun intended, but when you feel balanced on this side, go ahead and bring that right leg down and just fold over the legs. Adjust as you need to. Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Now from here, you may want to step back into downward facing dog, a nice extension for your spine. And then go ahead and float down onto hands and knees. And take your time as you roll over onto your back for just a few more exercises before we come into Shavasana. Okay. So the first exercise we'll do here on our backs is bridge pose. So go ahead and bring the heels directly underneath your knees, about hip width apart. Now, before we start, we're going to move in and out of it a few times, and then we're going to hold it. Before we start, re-engage Samavriti Pranayama, the even breath. Now, whatever count or length of breath you chose, add 2 counts to it. So if you were landed on 4, slow down the breath and extend it to 6. Or if it was 3, extend it to 5. If it was 2, extend it to 4. You get what I'm saying here. Add a little bit of time. Slow down the output of breath, exhale. Slow down the intake of breath, inhale. Now we're going to keep the breath at the slower samavriti rate, and we're going to go in and out of bridge pose a few times. And allow the movement to match the length of the breath. So with your next extended inhale, go ahead and lift the arms and hips into the air. Arms come all the way overhead, knuckles on the floor above you. And with that slow extended exhale, release the arms and hips back down. And do that 2 more times. Inhale. Please come into the pose and stay. Keep breathing at the slower samavriti rate. And if it feels okay for you, add in Kumbhaka at the top and bottom of the breath. And allow the length of the pause to be half the length of your inhale. So if you were inhaling for, say, the count of 6, hold the breath in for the count of 3. And then exhale for the count of 6, and hold out for the count of 3 as a ratio. One more breath. And then carefully release down. Good. Go ahead and walk your feet away from your body about 6 inches more. And take your feet as wide as a yoga mat, arms out to the sides. And with an inhale, drop the knees to the right, keep the feet mat width apart. Exhale, ground the lower back and bring the knees back to center. And then inhale, take the knees to the left. Then exhale back to center. Inhale to the right. And just keep going. Make it slow here. Inhaling to a side, exhaling to center, inhaling to a side, and exhaling to center. Keep going on your own breath. Just a few more times from side to side. And as you bring the knees back to center this time, go ahead and hug them in, holding behind the thighs. And then flex both feet and extend your legs toward the ceiling, holding behind the knees or the thighs. Pull the toes back or reach through the heels. At the same time, think about curling your tailbone back down to the floor. Breathe. Good. Go ahead and hug the knees in. So as you feel complete in this posture, go ahead and extend your legs all the way down to the floor. Prepare for Shavasana. Bring any props where you need them, any support. Prepare your space. Take the next few moments to make yourself nice and comfortable. And then take a nice deep breath in and out. Really just let yourself relax with that exhale. Feel yourself supported by the earth. Feel the physical sensations in your body, where you feel it, where you don't feel it, how you feel it. And then you might become aware of the more subtle effect of the practice, which is the energetic effect. So you might feel tired. You might feel kind of energized, but in a grounded way. You might just feel a sense of balance or harmony energetically, where it's not really tired or energetic. Maybe you feel calm, maybe several of those at once. Whatever that is, be aware of it. And then be aware of the quality of your mind. Now, we don't necessarily need the mind to be empty or completely still, absent of thought. We're not needing that, but just you might notice that the volume is lower, the speed is slower in a good way. Maybe there's less impulse or grasping. And I'd like you to see your brain filled with a bright light, radiant, expansive light. And to the best of your ability, I'd like you to hold this light as the primary focus of your consciousness, this light in the brain. And any thoughts that come into your mind that are not this light, let them dissolve in the presence of this light. peace, peace, peace. Please begin to take a deeper, fuller breath. Make some gentle movements in this body here, wiggling the fingers and toes, stretching out the arms and legs. And take your time as you roll to your right side, keeping your awareness rather inward. And bring yourself on up to a seat. Excuse me. So I've saved us a bit more time at the end to spend in pranayama practice. The practice we'll do today is called the krama breath, or sometimes called the sequenced breath. It's also in the book if you want to check that out. And what we've done so far is we've practiced kumbhaka at the top and the bottom of the breath. And with krama pranayama, we insert a pause during the breath. And there are many ways to do this, but the one that we'll do today is that we'll find an even rhythm, we'll find samavritti, and then we'll inhale for half the capacity of your breath. So half the count, pause, and then inhale the remainder, pause the top, exhale half the breath, pause, and then exhale the remainder and pause. And what this does is it interrupts your thoughts. It interrupts the movements of your mind, which is the goal of yoga. The first thing that's written about yoga in the sutras is yoga is the stilling of the restless fluctuations of the mind. This pranayama goes right for it. So we'll get steady with that. And then after we're practicing for several rounds, I'm going to remind you of the quality you can bring to dissolving the mind in the space between breaths or pause during the breath. Okay, so go ahead and sit comfortably again. Close your eyes, relax your body, and we'll start just by reestablishing a comfortable samavriti, even breath. No pauses just yet. Now we'll begin with some kumbhaka by stopping the breath at the top and the bottom, which you're most used to at this point. And how long you'll hold it is half the count of the inhale breath. So if you were inhaling for the count of 4, hold your breath in for the count of 2. Then exhale for the count of 4 and hold out for the count of 2, or however that ratio works out for your breath. Now, if you feel ready to, you can start to add the pause at the halfway point of the inhale and exhale, and it'll be the same length of pause at the top and the bottom of the breath. So again, for my example, if you're inhaling and exhaling for the count of 4, you would now inhale for 2, half the capacity of your breath, pause for 2, then remainder of the inhale for 2, pause for 2, exhale for 2, pause for 2, remainder of the exhale for 2, and pause for 2, or however that ratio works out for you. Inserting these pauses at the halfway point of the inhale and exhale, as well as the top and bottom of the breath. Just do your best. Inserting these short pauses during your breath. Again, remind yourself that you can dissolve all thoughts here. That space between breaths is an opportunity to let go of any movement of your mind, any movement, good, bad, or otherwise, being just non discriminating in your dissolving of thoughts. We'll continue for just a couple more rounds. Keep dissolving the mind. Take your time getting there, but as you complete this next hold after a complete exhale, relax all techniques. Aware of your interiority mentally. Yoga is the stilling of the restless movements of your mind. Do you feel that a little bit here? Calmer than before, less frenetic than before. Return to this practice anytime that you need to. It's a gift for you to control prana, to control your mind. When you're ready, please take a deeper, fuller breath and bring the palms together, bowing to that inner stillness in your capacity to access it. And may of all your hard work here tonight and this practice continue to serve you. So until we meet again, namaste. Thank you all so much for being here and sharing in this. If you liked that pranayama that we did at the end, the krama breath, I teach it in long form on the free app Insight Timer. I have about 8 or 9 practices on there. So if you want to do it longer, go check that out. You can just download it for free, search my name, and it'll pop up for you. It's one of my most popular ones on there.